So today's lesson is about calculating the volume of a rectangular prism. You can calculate the volume of many different types of three-dimensional figures, but the rectangular prism is the easiest, and that's what we're doing today, just rectangular prism. So we've talked about perimeter and area. If we were going to calculate the perimeter of this rectangle, what we could do is we'd see that there are 2 units on this side and 3 units on this side. And since this is a rectangle, the opposite sides are parallel and congruent, meaning they're the same. Congruent means the same. So if this is 2 units, this is 2 units. And if this is 3 units, this is 3 units. And we can also see that by counting the blocks. So to find the perimeter, which is basically, building a fence around this rectangle, we would add everything together. So 3 plus 2 is 5, plus 3 plus 2 would be 10. So the perimeter would be 10 units. We're just measuring the sides and adding them all up together. Now, if we were doing area, once again, this is 2 units, this is 3 units, and area is going to be one side multiplied by the other side, width times length. So that's 2 units times 3 units. And so I multiply the numbers together, 2 times 3, and that gives me 6. And then I multiply the units together. Units times units is units to the power of 2, otherwise known as 2 units squared, or units squared. And the reason we call it squared, or one way you can think about it, is the fact that when we're finding the area, it's just like when we were learning multiplication with arrays. If you multiply the number on one side by the number on the other side, you find the total number of squares in the middle. So we can cut this up into squares. This has a length of 3, so I'm cutting this up into 3. This has a length of 2. I'm cutting this up into 2. And if I count the number of squares, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, there are 6 square units. That is what we get when we multiply 6 square units or units squared, same thing. So that's why we have this little 2 here. That's units times units or units squared. We have squares here. Now let's talk about volume, which is what we did today. Let me show you what this would look like if it had 2 layers. So I turn it to the side, and this has 2 layers. This is actually a rectangular prism. So the 6 square units that we found here is the base, but there's 2 layers of them. So we can calculate, if we were to find out how many blocks are in this thing total, that would be the volume. So volume can be expressed as length times width times the number of layers, which is height. So we have 3 times 2 times the height of 2, which is equal to 6 times 2 is 12. Now, this is 3 units times 2 units times 2 units. So it's 3 times 2 times 2 is 12. Units times units times units is units to the power of 3, otherwise known as units cubed. Now, think about why we call it cubed. We just counted. We can get this number here by counting the number of cubes. We just divided this prism into cubes. And we essentially calculated the number of cubes in this. And if we count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, we will get that same volume. Okay? Now, here is another way of calculating this that I will show you. Excuse me, that is cubed. Okay, so you can, sometimes you will be given the base area. That is just the area of the base. That's this thing right here that we already know how to do. We already know what this is. The base area is just the area on the bottom. You see, because I have this under a document camera, this looks like a two-dimensional figure. And at this point, from this angle, you cannot see the height of this. You cannot see how tall this is. You can just see the base. If you calculate the area of this rectangle, that is the base area. So volume can also be base area times height. Now, if you are given the base area, they did some of the work for you, okay? Now, we already know what the base area is. It is 6 units squared, and we multiply it by the height, which is 2 units. And we get, once again, 6 times 2 is 12, and units squared is just units times units. So again, we have units times units times units. That is 3 dimensions. That's another way you can think about this. This is a 3-dimensional figure, so you have a 3 here. So what's 12 units cubed? 12 cubic units. There are 12 cubes in here. So that's the basic idea behind volume. Now let's do a few problems. The first one here is we're going to find the volume of this prism here. So the length of this prism is 4 inches. The width is 5 inches. So the area of the base area is base area is 4 inches times 5 inches. We multiply the numbers together. 4 times 5 is 20. Multiply inches times inches, that's going to be inches squared. There's a 2 here because there's 2 of them. We're multiplying together. So this is 20 inches squared. And the height is 6 inches. So we calculate the volume. Volume equals base area times height. And that is 20 inches squared. And height is 6 inches. 20 times 6 is going to be 120. And then inches squared is just inches times inches. And then we multiply that by another set of inches. And then we have inches times inches times inches, which is 120 inches cubed. And if you were going to count all the cubes that are inside of this prism, you would get 120 of them. Here's a couple more problems. These, we have a 2 by 3 by 3 centimeter rectangular prism here. Now the volume can be the base area times the height, or you can just say length times width times height. So the length is 2 centimeters. Width is 3 centimeters. And the height is 3 centimeters. If I multiply all the numbers together, 2 times 3 times 3, I'm going to get 18. And centimeters times centimeters times centimeters is centimeters cubed. So this is 18 centimeters cubed. Now these units are very important. You need to if it's just centimeters, then you're just talking about a straight line. If it has a 2 here and it's centimeters squared, that would be a flat shape, which is only 2-dimensional, hence the number 2. But this is a 3-dimensional shape, and that's why there's a 3 here. Now let's calculate this one. Once again, length times width times height. And we get 1 inch times 6 inches times 2 inches. If we multiply the numbers together, 1 times 6 times 2, we get 12. And then we have inches times inches times inches. It's inches cubed, so 12 inches cubed. And so that's how you find the volume of those two. Now here's one that doesn't give you a picture, okay? Tony stacks cube-shaped beads that measure 1 centimeter on each edge in a storage box. The box can hold 6 layers of 24 cubes with no gaps or overlaps. What is the volume of Tony's storage box? Well, I'm going to draw a picture here that just to match what it says here. So this is my prism, my rectangular prism. And it says that there's 6 layers of 24 cubes. So that tells me that there are, I can think of the layers like this, and each layer has 24 cubes. Now, cubes. So if the first layer is 24 cubes, that means that's going to be basically the base area. Okay, they're just telling us what one layer is, and that is the area of the bottom. Okay, so my base area equals 24 centimeters, and it's going to be centimeters squared. Now, the height is going to be 6 centimeters. So each cube is 1 centimeter. And so if I were going to calculate the volume of this, it would be base area times height. That's 24 times 6. 24 centimeters squared times 6 centimeters. 24 times 6 is 144. So that's the number part, but the units would be centimeters squared, which is centimeters, times another centimeters. So that is centimeters cubed. There are 144 1 centimeter cubes in this picture. Okay, so it's very important to understand whether they're giving you the length and width of the bottom of your figure, or if they're giving you the entire area of the bottom of your figure, the base of your figure. Okay, the length of this is 3, the width is 2, but if they gave in the base area, it would be 6, and I would just multiply that by the height of 2. If they gave me the width and length and not the base area, I would have to multiply those first and then multiply by the height. So you have to be very careful to understand what it's asking. Okay, if they're talking about an entire layer, well, that's the base area. Okay, if they say length or width or dimensions, then that's going to be length and width, and you'll have to multiply those together to get the base area. I think that's the main confusing thing about this topic. And hopefully that helps.